Fruity. Market Overton sidings were operated by James Payne, a contractor from Northamptonshire looking in 1906 for further opportunities. The quarries were named and numbered, but not in a chronological one, as Payne referred to them by name only. During a slack in the market, Payne sold out in 1928 to Stanton Ironworks, who continued their use until Stewart and Lloyd's took over in 1950, and subsequently British Steel from 1970. Continuing Payne's policy of selling on the open market, Stanton sold their iron to Buckminster Quarries, who supplied Frodingham Ironwork at Scunthorpe, Partington's works at Earlham, and Walter Scott's in Leeds. The first two continued to receive iron into the 1970s. Each contractor here served 22 years. Payne was an early adopter and from the start was using Ruston Proctors, Whitaker's shovels and a 15-ton Berry. As he also found business in Uppingham, locomotives were supplied from there. He always purchased new from Peckett's, and names such as Lance, Gordon, Ironstone, Overton, Darlington and Adderley were worked with occasional appearances from Uppingham. Worth noting was a six-wheeler from the Port of London Authority which did a great deal of war work under the name Jason. Following the 1950s Stanton takeover, engines were replaced with Andrew Barclay 15-inch locos with names Rutland, Juno, Jupiter, Jubilee, Jason, Stainby, Souston, Curzon, Buccleuch, Drury, Frank, Maud and Buckminster. Quarries expanded in the 1950s and there were some impressive machines here like the 43RB diesel dragline, two W90 draglines, a 5361 stripping shovel, and unique to the East Midlands, a 110RB shovel. Brick-built offices were made including a loco shed just about right for 4 engines under its corrugated roof. Despite the expansion by 1957, Market Overton was merely a satellite of Buckminster and by 1967 sent all of its output through the High Dyke. One loco, Frank, was retained to work the quarry until the 31st of December 1971 when it was sent to Buckminster. Discussions had taken place since 1965 as the administration offices at Market Overton were good enough to be used for other purposes, and on the 6th of May 1972, when the offices were auctioned, they were snapped up by John Gretton on behalf of Flying Scotsman Enterprises. Pendennis Castle was towed from Didcot on the 23rd of June, accompanied by a coach and an observation car. Some of the tight curves on the branch were eased for the loco's delivery and a huge concrete shed built to house express locos. By the end of 1973, Pendennis Castle and Flying Scotsman were stabled here, and in early 1974 discussions were in place to reconnect Buckminster and Market Overton, and 7 lengths of rails were laid in July but never ballasted. BR announced a severing of the High Dyke for the 6th of October 1974 and both locos were delivered to Neville Hill on the 5th of October for later transfer to Carnforth. Ashwell Station, opened by the Midland Railway with the completion of the new Syston to Peterborough line, was south of a north-facing junction where a 2-mile branch curved round the village, over the disused Oakham Canal to a 1 in 13 quarter-mile incline and a quarry to the southwest of Cottesmore. This branch, officially titled the Cottesmore Gorse Exchange Sidings, was completed by the Midland in 1882 to a quarry that had been sending ore by road to Ashwell Station since 1879. Sheepbridge Coal and Iron Company had their own 3-foot gauge tramway above the incline. Ore was extracted by hand, and the system was one of the last sizable quarries to employ horses to take away the spoil, which they did until 1933, when Frodingham took over. The diesels were underpowered and were replaced by steam during and after World War II, but output drastically reduced until 1956. To the south, Bell Brothers Burley Quarries was started by a dozen navvies in 1919 from an extended standard gauge branch to a 3-foot 91 centimetre gauge with tipping dock. Then upwards by 65 foot 20 metres on the last Ironstone incline to be built in Britain. Dorman Long took over in 1923 and converted to standard gauge and negated the incline via a sweeping curve with a tunnel under the Oakham Road which doubled as a loco shed, complete with doors. Calcination at Burley resulted in deep purple, probably from higher temperatures. Eunice, Beryl, Angela and Jupiter worked until the end of World War II when Adam, transferred from Rhymney, joined the fleet. Beryl worked on the main line. In September 1957, United Steels took over and they sent all ore via lorry to the Exton system. In 1962, the quarry closed and track was lifted and locos were sent to Colsterworth. Wheat soon appeared in fields sandwiching a road with a scar from a removed level crossing. The Earl of Gainsborough, despite much local opposition, granted land around Exton Park to be developed into what became the third largest quarry after Corby and Oxfordshire, and work commenced to prepare the loop and 14-mile, 22-kilometre route to the nearest railway in 1948. Some of it covered the old narrow gauge route to Cottesmore South, and the United Steel operated it until various branches of British Steel took over from 1968. The whole northern section of the loop was in a ha-ha on wooden sleepers, but the southern return was chaired track on concrete sleepers running on mainline standards in deep ballast. All locos were steamers from the Yorkshire Engine Company Limited, 6-axled and painted in dark light green with yellow and red coupling rods, with engine names of United Steel Companies Limited, Ore Mining Branch, Exton Park in gold lettering. Diesel replacement came in 1961. Exton Park employed some huge machinery, including a W1400 Ransoms and Rapier dragline named Sundew, after the Grand National winner of 1957, the year of its construction. It was so large that dismantling it and reassembling it would take 3 years, so in 1974 it was walked to Corby in 3 months at a speed of 1 mile in 10 hours, saving time and money. Its bucket had a 32-ton capacity on a 282-foot, 85-metre boom. Closure of Exton Park was scheduled for June 1972, but delays occurred until the steelworkers' strike in April 73. Exton Park workers lifted the northern section in this time, and the last train ran in May. A narrow gauge line was opened in 1958 at Stapleford Park to allow visitors to travel from the car park to the house. Such was its success that it extended into a loop in 1959, and although it still runs, is only open to the public 2 weekends a year. As ever, I'm always interested in your comments and your experiences of living or visiting around this area. Please let me know, and don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to receive future videos. See you again soon.